Hello. Welcome back for another recipe review. If you've caught on yet, I will be posting these every Tuesday, so please be sure to look out for these each week. And if you have any suggestions or recipes that you'd like me to look over and review, I'd love to hear from you. So typically when I'm looking up recipes, I just do simple Google searches or go on Pinterest and I go through about 10 different recipes until I find the one that I like. Or I'll find one that has most of the ingredients that I already have, and then I'll look at other recipes to see what I can use if there's something that I don't have. And that's simply just because I enjoy doing that. For this week's recipe review, I decided that I'm going to bake a cookie and then let you know what I think about it. So I have been craving brownie cookies all week, and I finally found the perfect recipe that has all the ingredients that I already have, and I'm excited to try it out. Another reason I'm actually excited about this recipe is because I feel like it is a healthier version of an actual brownie, and it calls for cacao instead of cocoa, which is an unprocessed chocolate. So I'll see how that goes. I am anticipating it to be a little more on the bitter side, but I think that's just an assumption because of how bitter the chips that I have are. So we'll see. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that it satisfies all my chocolate cravings and then I can stick to this recipe for good. So I found this recipe off this cute blog called the Banana Diaries, and it is a vegan double chocolate chip cookie. And she describes it as a brownie in cookie form, which is exactly what I'm looking for, so I can't wait. I have the ingredient list here, and like always, I will post the link to her blog in my description so you can get the recipe yourself. And so far, I don't think I'll be substituting anything because like I said, I have everything that it listed. The only thing I did go out to buy for this was applesauce, and that's only because I've been seeing that used as an egg replacement in so many baking recipes, so I figured I might as well have it here. And yeah, so I'm excited. I can't wait to just really taste this chocolate brownie cookie, and I hope that all goes well. So come join me in the kitchen, let's get to baking, and then we'll come back for the review. So I thought it'd be smart to separate the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients before I got started, because in baking that's usually what you do. Here I am going over the recipe and realizing I messed it up already. But it was really no big deal. They end up getting mixed together, so I proceeded. So here it is. This is where my cookies went wrong. Continue to watch me as I try to make up for what just happened. As I'm mixing, I realize that the dough is super dry and very hard to mix. So I ran back to the recipe to see if I did something wrong, and then I came back and tried to fix it. I'll explain more later. Also, get those hands dirty because it makes it much easier to mix the dough. So the recipe says you'll get about 22 cookies out of this. I don't know if my ice cream scoop was a little too big, but I only got 16 cookies, which was totally fine. It also says that these cookies don't spread much on their own, so I took the back of a fork and pressed them down a bit. At this point, I know the cookies do not look the way they're supposed to. They look more like a good chocolate chip cookie. But I hope that some miracle happens in the oven while they're baking. So here we go. Set your timer for 10 minutes and hope for the best. No matter what these cookies taste like in the end, the house smells amazing. Pretty good, actually. And you cannot have a cookie without a cold glass of milk. So what had happened was, so baking's like never been my thing. And the thing I love the most about cooking is you can cook from your heart and your soul. And you always add a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You can follow a recipe, but for the most part, you can go with how you feel. Baking is not that way at all. Baking is very scientific, and if you don't follow the ingredients to the T, then you've messed it all up. So that's kind of what happened with these cookies. So I did not have cacao powder. I had cacao chips, and I had two options in mind that I could go about this. So the first one was, how about I just melt them down and then add them into the coconut and applesauce mixture? But then I read in the comments on her blog that for some reason, the coconut needs to be softened, not melted. And if it is melted, then it'll affect the way the cookies turn out. So that was not a good option, because I knew if I put the melted chocolate in with the coconut, it would melt the coconut oil. So then my next option was to just grind them down in my food processor. So I did that, but it didn't come out as fine as powder should be. It did have some coarse chunks in it, but I was like, hey, it's a chocolate cookie recipe, and she says to add chocolate chips in the end, so those will be the chips, like no big deal, right? So let's start with, like, as I was making the dough, I could already tell that it wasn't going to turn out the way it should. The dough didn't get that dark, rich color that I was looking for. And I'm actually going to show a picture of what they were supposed to look like and then how they turned out. So I guess the powder or the cacao chips that I did grind down just it wasn't enough. So then I thought, okay, well, I do still want that dark color. So instead of adding chocolate chips into it, how about I just melt the chocolate and then mix that into the dough, and that'll darken it. That didn't work either. But I was still a little hopeful because I did try the dough and it was raw and it tasted just fine. And I was like, you know what? If anything, I'm getting some good chocolate chip cookies out of this. No biggie. So I put them in the oven. And then when you take them out, on her blog, she says to bang the pan hard 4 times on the countertop. And then you get the little, I guess, crackle that she shows on hers. Maybe I just wasn't banging hard enough because that didn't happen either. But it's all right. So I let them cool, and just right away, I'm not even gonna lie, I was pretty disappointed when I did see the finished product. I just felt like they were gonna be some bitter cookies that I kind of wasted my time on. And I mean, whatever, if that were to happen, like, I had fun baking them, and that's really all that matters. But to my surprise, they actually turned out pretty darn good. Like, nothing like what I was expecting at all. It did not come out as a brownie cookie at all. But the cookie itself was so good. It's very dense, very moist inside. I love using applesauce as an egg replacement. Like, I will only do that from now on when baking. And it was really good. And I mean, I have to say, I'm so proud of myself for not burning them, because when it comes to cookies, I always burn cookies. Even store-bought cookies that you literally just take out of the packaging, put them on a pan, put them in, burn. So they actually came out pretty good. And the thing that I'm most excited about actually is the fact that I now have a cookie dough base that I could work with. So I think the next time I make it, I'm probably gonna leave the cacao, just leave that all out, and probably add some coconut to it or some dried cranberries. I could always add nuts. Like, the possibilities are endless. But I will say that I do want to give this one more try the right way. I messed it up. It's my fault. I will say that. Like, I will take full responsibility. It is my fault they did not come out well. Or they did not come out the way they were supposed to. They still came out pretty delicious. So I do want to try this recipe again the right way. It is just so crazy to me how one ingredient can make or break a recipe when you're baking. Like that, I can't get over that. And I don't know, until I get over it, I just don't consider myself a baker. But it was fun, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. I have a plate full of great cookies, and my sweet tooth is satisfied. And I really will say that it's a good recipe. You should try it out. Just do it the right way. Don't make my mistake. And if you have better luck with it and it comes out just as it's pictured and tastes just as great as it's supposed to, please let me know. And I will also give you guys an update when I myself get some cacao powder and try it again. Thank you for watching. hey, this is real life, right? Like, this is what happens. You're not always going to have every ingredient. And that's why I'm doing this, because I want to show that sometimes substitutes work and sometimes they don't. And sometimes you're going to follow a recipe just as it is and you're not going to like it. And sometimes you're going to follow it and it'll be great. So, this is what I'm trying to show. It's fun. I enjoy it. It's literally not going to kill me that I don't have my brownie cookies. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you all next week for another new recipe to review. Take care, have a great week, and I'll see you soon.